Hey guys, thanks for tuning into this week's episode of the Kade Wilcox podcast, where I had Dr. Julie Hubik, who's an audiologist and the owner of Cornerstone Audiology here in Lubbock. I have recorded now probably 60 or 70 total podcasts, and for the very first time, I failed to hit record until about 10 minutes into the episode. But the rest of the episode, which is about 30 minutes, was so good, I really didn't want to throw it away and start over. And so for the first few minutes, Julie and I simply talked about her entrepreneurial journey, where she shared growing up with entrepreneurial grandparents, and her dad was an entrepreneur and a great business person. His name is Johnny. And so she had just got done sharing about how that kind of shaped and influenced her entrepreneurial journey. Because I'd asked her, I'm like, is this something that you always wanted to be an entrepreneur? You always wanted to be a business owner? And she simply just shared that, it's all she knew because she grew up in that type of family. And so it's going to be a little bit of an awkward transition, 100% my fault. Really appreciate Julie being on the podcast. And I can assure you, I am going to not let this happen again, but you learn from your mistakes and you move on. So again, thanks for tuning into this week's episode. Please enjoy my time and my interview with Dr. Julie Hubik of Cornerstone Audiology. Thanks, guys.
I think growing up in an entrepreneurial family, one of the things that really, helps you to make that leap is that it's not scary. Even though there are parts of it, if you really stop and think about it, that scare you, the overall thought of it is, of course, why wouldn't I do that? Like, of course I would do that. And so I think that it kind of takes the fear out of it. But yes, Jacob is an idea guy. He's had lots of great ideas that I have implemented. We have a lot of conversations about it. His favorite phrase that drives me crazy, but I also love, is, do you just want me to listen, or would you like me to solve this?
Hey, how many years of marriage did it take him to at least ask before he just launched in to tell
Pretty
you?
Pretty recent, if I'm honest. Maybe he could say it just a little differently. Yeah, I think I would enjoy owning any business because I like business in general and revenue and things like that. But just getting to be with the demographic that I love and audiology that I'm super passionate about, and the business part of it is just, it's a real blessing. I love it. Yeah. We do, as a team, we sit down annually and look at the vision and the goals. We look at the past year, we look to see what we've done, and we look to see where we want to be. And then we try to break that down into smaller pieces to make it more manageable and to give each person tangible things that they can do to contribute to that goal. So we do that annually. We also meet every week. We have a team huddle every Monday morning, and we just go over the basics of where we are for the month and where we are for the week, just kind of a quick touch base. The thing that I'm most proud of is probably my team. They are top notch, and I wouldn't survive a day without them. They're the best, from support staff to audiologists. And there's only 9 of us right now. We're kind of trimmed down. We just have the Lubbock location and a location in Snyder. But it's the same team that's managing both of those. But I thought about it, and, Johnny Williams, the school of hard knocks of my father, one of his quotes that he says all the time is that there are givers and takers in the world. And it's so true. But you can look around to your friends and you know which ones are givers and which ones are not. And so it's really important, I think, to hire givers, because that not only trickles out to the people or the customers or patients that you're serving. They know that you're a giver, you're in tune to what they need, you're gonna make sacrifices to help them. But it also creates just a great environment to work in. You can't be, as my mother would say, too big for your britches. You can't be above anything. If the toilet overflows, I expect you to grab the plunger. I don't care how many letters are after your name, how many degrees you have, you're gonna have to be able to do everything. And that's just the small town. That's the Nazareth way. Yeah. You gotta do, willing to do anything and everything.
What advice would you give someone if someone's listening to this and they're thinking about starting a business, or even someone who owns a business and they're just so kind of stuck in the business? Like, everything you've learned, everything that you've experienced, what advice comes to mind when you think of this?
You kind of stole my thunder earlier when you said delegate the things that you don't love or the things that you're not good at. But that is really true, with you. There is some element in a small business, you still have to do things you're not necessarily great at, but you should get some support from someone, even if it's not a full-time person, that you will end up costing yourself more than you'll save by not doing it. That's a constant thing, when you don't want to be so cheap that you stepping over dollars looking for dimes. Yeah. So especially too, if it's going to be a liability or you're going to get yourself in trouble, you should definitely pay the fee for whatever that thing is.
Well, I'm really proud of you. Running and owning a business is really hard work, but I particularly admire, moms who own businesses and are highly successful, because if it's anything like my household, I know you're carrying just as much responsibility and weight at home as you are in your business. And I really admire it, because I could never do it. Like if I didn't have my wife, there's no way I could do all this stuff. And you're doing double time, and I always really admire it. So I'm just really proud of you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.